And how's everyone doing today? Good. We're going to get started. And my name is Ashley Danielson, and I am a registered dietitian nutritionist. I am here to talk about the results of a 6-month human weight loss study with a natural product called Motus. And I provided clinical oversight to the nutrition piece of some of our study participants with a group of 100 people. As a disclosure, I am a consultant with Tonum Health and I don't own any stock in the company. Okay, so today we're here for a really short amount of time. So I'm going to touch briefly on why and how the product was invented in the first place, the 8 years of preclinical data to really leading to the Motus human weight loss study, an overview and rationale behind the study design, and then get into the results and things we would have done differently if we got to do it all over again. So the invention of Motus as a weight loss supplement was actually an unexpected result of research that Tonum Health was doing in Alzheimer's disease. The founder of the company is Mark Brosso, and his father was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease. And the same week, his son was diagnosed with Prader-Willi syndrome. So knowing this, Mark immersed himself in finding a way to prevent that onset of Alzheimer's disease for both his father and son using natural ingredients. So he read thousands of journals, researched thousands of ingredients, and focused on the penetration of those ingredients into the blood-brain barrier and targeting key pathways, really to reduce neurodegeneration, neuroinflammation, and promote neuronal growth, and then commenced rodent studies with Duke University to evaluate the formula. So for Alzheimer's studies in mice, the protocol is to knock in the APOE44 gene into the mice, and then put the rodents in a very high-fat diet to exacerbate the Alzheimer's disease. And during the studies, the rodents on the Motus formula with high-fat diet were losing weight, while the rodents on the control, so the high-fat diet alone, were actually gaining weight. And the preclinical studies showed significant neurologic improvement. The metabolic effects were unexpected, and then further animal studies were conducted to really look at that metabolic effect. So 6 years of testing resulted in significant weight loss and metabolic improvements in large, long-term repeated studies. Other than weight loss, the studies showed improvements in cholesterol by 28%, reduction in liver fat by 45%, and an increase in energy efficiency and cardiolipins by 35%. Tonum Health then decided to conduct a human study to determine if the weight loss benefits translated to humans, and it was an open label study, originally planned for 100 participants over 3 months. The requirements for the participants were to take Motus daily, track their diet and exercise, and we worked with MyNetDiary with that tracker, weigh in weekly on a body fat scale that we provided to them, and then complete bi-weekly quality of life surveys. And I worked on a team with 2 other dietitians and a nutritionist, and we really oversaw the participants' food logs and their exercise logs. We provided that optional nutrition education. So healthy living suggestions, if you're going to the grocery store, here's some meal plan ideas, and really items that fit into their lifestyle. And each participant was really different, right, on what their expectations were and their hopes were with their coaches. So we really kind of dug a little deeper to help them refine their goals. But with this, the participants were not expected to do any calorie restrictions or in any specific exercise regimen. So towards the end of the first 3 months, we reached out to participants that were actively logging in MyNetDiary to see if they wanted to continue for another 3 months. And we had 41 people that agreed to continue. And then at the end of the 6 months, we had 39 people that continued on another 6-month extension to complete a full year study, which is where we're currently at. So out of those 41, we had the 39 continue because one person hit their weight loss goal. And then the other one had major surgery, but continued on Motus and lost an additional 7 pounds. So you can see here in 3 months, the 100 participants lost 5.7% of total weight loss. The 41 participants who agreed to participate in that extension study lost a total of 10.4% total body weight, with 87% of the weight loss coming from fat versus lean muscle mass. And out of the 100, 4 participants dropped out of the study due to side effects. So 2 had some GI discomfort and 2 dropped out to pre-existing heart conditions and just talked with their doctor about waiting until the product was on the market and to move forward from there. So in order to simulate real world scenarios, we use the diet and exercise tracker, the participants' own self-reported data, and then really our assessment of the participants, and we put them into 4 different segments. So you can see here, there's category 1. So those who really ate an excellent diet and exercise at least 4 times per week. Category 2 is those who eat an average diet and exercise about 2 to 3 days per week. Category 3 is those who ate an average diet and did not exercise. And then category 4 was, they consumed a poor diet and they did not exercise at all. So the key takeaway here is that the large percentage of participants fell into categories 2, 3, and 4. And the total weight loss in each category was statistically significant, regardless of diet type or exercise. One of the other multiple items that we thought was important to collect was really their quality of life, right? So how did they feel? How was their energy level? How did they sleep? And just general feelings about their progress in the program. And as you can imagine, we have a lot of data that we're still organizing for the final study report, but really wanted to highlight some of these important points. So first of all, energy. And as you would expect, typically when you are losing weight, you have, and kind of depends on the situation, right? But most are going to have a significant improvement in energy level. No one saw a decline in energy level, and a majority saw that significant improvement, which correlates to the rodent studies that we did with Duke. With respect to sleep, about half of the participants experienced a significant improvement in sleep, and half saw a mild improvement or no change. And then lastly, this is my favorite, when we asked the open-ended question, what were your wins for the week? The overall win by a large margin was I am down clothing sizes. And we additionally, sometimes saw I am down a few pounds from last week, but a large percentage of the participants seemed to be focused on how their clothes felt, how they looked, and, really how they felt, inside and out. Secondly, they were motivated to do more things in their life. So they had more energy to play with their kids. They wanted to exercise more. And then a good percentage who had their blood work done saw amazing improvements in metabolic markers. So 40 to 50% reduction in triglycerides, 30% reduction in cholesterol, and then 15 to 20% reduction in A1C. So what would we have done differently if we got to do it all over again? We really should have collected biomarkers from everyone because the improvement really was quite remarkable. So as I mentioned, we had a really great change. So number of the study participants, about give or take 10, provided their blood work before and after the 6-month visit, and all saw significant metabolic improvements. Give me 1 second here. So sorry. Okay, so secondly, we would have designed the study to be 6 months versus a 3-month with a 3-month extension. 6 months really gives us more time to look at the weight loss, to know if it's sustainable. 12 months is going to be even better. And as I mentioned, we decided to extend it another 6 months to a full year. So 95% of those extension participants have remained in the study. We also would have made the data collection, so the weight loss, the sleep, the surveys, a bit easier if we would have used the integrations of MyNetDiary with the wearable devices. So Whoop, Garmin, or Ring, other options that just kind of connects everything. And we've also talked about really how the team could have included the dietitians and the nutritionist team earlier in the screening process versus after the selection. So we would have been able to have a better connection with all of the participants, really seeing that data from the very beginning all the way through to know how those participants changed. A lot of our interaction with the participants were through email. And so really looking at additional opportunities like a HIPAA compliant Zoom, texting, the platforms, right, where we can provide more of that one-on-one coaching. So to wrap it up and to take questions, Motus as a natural supplement seems to be as effective at weight loss as a semaglutide at 6 months without the side effects, the cost, or the loss of lean muscle mass. And of course, diet and exercise played a large role in the weight loss, especially for the participants who were disciplined. But surprisingly, the people who did follow a strict diet or exercise program still lost a significant amount of weight. The next steps for Tonum Health are to complete the extension study and roll it out to that 1 year. So right now, again, we're at that 9-month point where we're still at over 10% of the total weight loss for the group. And then we're going to present the data with the rodent study at Obesity Week next month. Due to the success of the study, Tonum Health plans to offer MyNetDiary to its customers free of charge. And then we're also talking about providing nutrition services to subscription members. And as we know, working with registered dietitians will just kind of support that progress in their journey and help them through each piece. Tonum Health is very research focused and has had additional human studies planned for 2026 and beyond, starting with another direct to consumer study measuring both metabolomics and cognition using biomarkers and cognitive scales. And of course, would love to present that data next year. So to kind of wrap up here, we've had a lot of excitement with people stopping by our booth. We're at booth 918 and would love to talk with you more just about the product itself. I have one of the models up here. And we also have a table at the back with some models that you could look at, really just kind of talking about those natural ingredients, how our participants had a lot of success. And then we're also giving away free samples of our protein bar. So Motus came out in September. The protein bar is not on the market yet, but we have information on our website. And then we're really trying to get feedback from all of our nutrition experts on what you think about the protein bar. So the sample is not the full size that we are giving away, but the full size of the bar is actually equivalent to taking the 4 supplements for the daily intake with Motus, which is really exciting. Not everybody loves to use, capsules too. So a different way to consume that. But we're hoping to really get your feedback. So come stop by booth 19. We can have you sign up and then also learn more about our Nutrition Ambassador program and answer any questions that you have. So thanks so much for coming today, and we hope to see you at our booth. We have 3 minutes for questions in case anybody has any questions.
Supplement was used for individuals with dementia or Alzheimer's. Did they see an improvement in memory, short-term, long-term? Is that something that they were looking at, or is it just weight loss?
The study was weight loss. So we also have a supplement called Neuro, and that's really focused more on the brain health. This weight loss was the unexpected result of those ingredients. So we didn't do that, but I believe we're going to potentially be doing that in a future study. Yeah, good question.
I was just looking at some of the ingredients in this supplement, and I know that our brain can sometimes cause like constipation side effects. And you mentioned that there were minimal side effects. Any comments on that?
Really the two, I didn't have the participants that had the GI effects, so I don't know specifically what they were, what their side effects were with related to GI issues. I think that if that were happening, really the first thing that we would talk about is like, okay, the timing of a supplement. So are you taking all of them at once? Or can we go 2 in the morning, 2 at night? Or can we space them out throughout the day, making sure you're taking them with food and water? And then also on that other side, what does your diet look like? Are you consuming foods that are causing constipation? How do we get more fiber in? And then go from there. And obviously, if somebody has a lot of constipation, then we kind of pivot, right? And talk about other lifestyle situations. But yes, you are right. That can cause some of that GI discomfort. And I don't have the extreme data about if there was, constipation reported, but
Upset stomach.
just an upset stomach, I guess, was the GI discomfort. Yeah, good question. Thanks, everyone.